right, welcome back. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about some misconceptions about Bitcoin. I found a great video and we'll just talk through it, and I'll interject every now and then when it gets too much to be able to take. Here we go.
We've been hearing a lot about Bitcoins lately, and it hasn't all been good news. But first, what is a virtual currency? Well, in some ways, they're just as real as that dollar bill in your pocket. Both are fiat currencies, meaning they're not backed by a physical thing like gold or silver. Usually, virtual currencies like Bitcoin can be spent online or in person using a smartphone app. Some cities even have Bitcoin ATMs. As long as businesses agree to accept them, customers can buy everything, from pizza to Sacramento Kings tickets. But there are some pretty fundamental differences between bucks and Bitcoins. Unlike the bills in your pocketbook, virtual currencies are not tied to a government or central bank, and they don't leave a paper trail the way credit and debit cards do.
She says that as if it's a bad thing.
Because they're not backed by a government, the value of Bitcoins is highly volatile. At the end of 2012, one Bitcoin was worth around $12. The following year, it climbed to more than $1,200. And 4 months later, it plummeted to around $500.
Yes, it is highly volatile. In fact, right now, it's over $11,500.
Also, Bitcoin owners are out of luck if the companies behind their digital wallets, where people store their Bitcoins, are hacked or become insolvent.
I do have to give these guys a little bit of slack. This was 2014, and Bitcoin was barely 5 years old at that point. So there were a lot of things still being worked out in the wallets and the exchanges and everything else. Right now, most of what they're talking about is no longer valid. We've got hardware wallets that are fantastic. We've got regular wallets. We've got wallets in our phones. Square, among other major companies, puts out an app called Cash App where you can buy Bitcoins online. Last year, they transacted over $1 billion with a B.
While bank accounts are FDIC insured, backed by the government, digital wallets aren't.
I think that's borderline hilarious. The FDIC insures you against a bank going bankrupt. Bitcoin can't go bankrupt.
Aren't. So, despite growing acceptance from businesses, there is no guarantee that Bitcoin is here to stay.
Now, it has been a few years since this was recorded, and Bitcoin is becoming more and more ubiquitous in buying and selling, but for the most part, the next point that she makes is pretty good. Not the one about volatility, but the next one after that.
All that volatility, plus the short history of Bitcoin, has led to questions about whether Bitcoins are actually being used as currency, or if they're mainly being bought by speculators who are hoping to turn a quick buck by selling them once they rise in value. Of course, if Bitcoin crashes, it could be replaced by another so-called cryptocurrency.
Well, so it appears that crashing is probably not in the cards at this point. Likewise, it is being used for investment purposes and for buying and selling. This is an incredible market where Bitcoin appears to be doing nothing but going up.
Or people could go back to paying for their pizza with dollars and cents.
Wow, what a difference a few years make. Now the question is no longer should I invest in Bitcoin, but how much of my net worth should I put in Bitcoin? The investment bankers are talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. So if somebody's going to make a video about Bitcoin in 4 or 5 years, I wonder how much different it'll be then. This is Dr. Darwin. It's going to be a wild ride. See you later.